Hi, welcome to Visual Studio Toolbox. I'm your host, Robert Green, and with me today is Dimitri Leyland.
Good to be here
Dimitri.
again. Yeah.
You're on the show. That must mean
I think it's a release.
something shipped.
Something shipped. Or a lot of things shipped, as usual.
A lot of things.
A lot
Visual
of things.
Studio 2015, .NET Framework 4.6, others. You have a beautiful slide that shows it all.
Beautiful
I'm not
slide.
going to pre-announce everything that's on your slide.
Well, hopefully folks have
Although
been
there's no
following.
news.
Today, by the time people see our video, there's no news. Hopefully they've seen the news already, and hopefully they've been following our previous releases that we've had. But it's finally RTM time. That's
So
really
everything
exciting.
released, what day is it? Yesterday?
Yes. Physically speaking, when
Yesterday.
today is
We're
Tuesday.
taping this on Tuesday, and we're going to publish it tomorrow, which will be Wednesday.
Yep.
We usually do these videos the day we release, but we decided to mix it up a little bit this time. Instead of, taking away from Soma and all the other great that people are on and the in the code videos and whatnot, we decided to kind of do a little bit more of a wrap up.
Either that or we were just busy. And
No, it was definitely the former.
Whatever he said was
planned.
actually, this was completely planned. I agree.
Plus, yesterday was my birthday, and the idea
Happy
of working on my
birthday.
birthday just I couldn't handle it. So.
I didn't know it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And there's a new product out. So
Yeah.
It's a momentous day all
It's
all
gifts
around.
for your birthday. They showered you with releases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to talk us through a little bit, and
Let's
then
go.
what we're going to do is show some of our favorite features.
Yeah, let's take a
Because
look.
we do have to do some demos.
We'll do some demos.
Okay.
All
You made
right.
such pretty slides.
Pretty slides.
We have to have them.
We have to have pretty slides. So we had a really exciting kind of lead up to this event. If we go over to the next one, we've had a year full of releases. I mean, we've been doing these episodes every time there's a major release with you and me together. And we had the biggest thing, which was our sort of RC releases at Build. And we, of course, had all the updates to Visual Studio. We had Visual Studio Code, lots of stuff in the cloud services space, Visual Studio Online. And today we are finally RTM'd Update 5 for Visual Studio 2013. But the bigger news, of course, is really the next slide, which talks all about what are we so excited to say that it's finally RTM. And that is
should have a little bit of
a little oomph.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Visual Studio 2015 is finally RTM. I know folks have been really waiting to get their hands on these bits, and their bits are finally available. Along with it, we shipped .NET 4.6, ASP.NET 4.6, Azure SDK, and a bunch of other stuff. If you hit next slide there, you'll see that there's as usual, a ton of releases, whether we're talking about things like F#, Python, Unity, Node.js tooling. A lot of things have RTM'd or have reached higher quality. I think
and the F# is not a release. That's a RTM.
Yeah, 4.0 RTM.
Yep.
Yeah, so everything, and F# is in the box. We've got quite a bit here. We have the Android emulator, which is now available as a standalone, usable component if people want to use it without VS for some reason. So we made that available, and it really shipped, all the languages and all the other, graphics tooling, etc. This is a partial list, as usual. There's a lot of stuff, and the Visual Studio team blog does a really good job at kind of going through the details and summarizing.
.NET Framework blog too.
Yeah, .NET Framework blog. I mean, yeah, there's specific blogs. I think VS does the nice sort of kind of overall umbrella, and the other blogs talk about the details. So
Did you write that one? Is that why it's your favorite?
No, I definitely did not write that one. I give credit to lots of other people. I'm just a reviewer on some of these things. Scott Guthrie had a good blog. I mean, just a lot of good things out there. So let's take a look at a couple of things that people need to know. All right. So we do have two things that I want to call out as part of this release. The first thing is Windows tooling. This has come up a lot. The Windows 10 tooling, it won't be out till next week. So you can install RTM on Windows 10 today. So if you have, let's say, build 10.240 running on your machine, like I do, and you want to install RTM fully,
or previous build, right?
Or previous build, yeah. You can install Visual Studio without issue. But you won't be able to build any more for Windows 10. So if you had RC installed, and you were building your Windows 10 app and you install RTM, you're going to be out of luck, right? So if you want to continue building your Windows 10 app, stay in RC till the 29th. I mean, it's not that long, next week. On that day, on the 29th, if you have VS 2015 RC installed, you'll have to upgrade to RTM. If you have RTM installed, you can just download the SDK, plugs right in. You don't have to reinstall Visual Studio. And I've been watching Twitter. I spent a lot of time on Twitter over the last 24 hours. People are asking good questions like, hey, will I have to reinstall Visual Studio RTM if I don't have, if I want to do Windows 10 Dev on the 29th? No, install it and we'll give you the add-on, the tooling add-on. There's also a lot of questions. Can I install over a previous version of Visual Studio when I want to go to RTM? Yes, you can. So if you have RC, if you're going the same edition to the same edition, you can do that. So people don't have to spend time, an hour or more, uninstalling, reinstalling. Right. We've all been there. It could be a fun experience. So those are the big things. If you've built
Windows 10 apps already and now you go to the RTM, there's some information you need to know. There's some pretty good blogs about that. But if you haven't even started, then the best thing to do is just wait.
You can start with RC today. I mean, it's just a matter of how much time you want to spend installing and uninstalling certain things. There's basically, the facts on the ground. It's up to you what you want to decide as a developer. Another thing that I wanted to note is around ASP.NET 5. This has come up in questions a lot as well. What is shipping with Visual Studio 2015? Because in the lead-up, we've actually, I have to admit, we've been talking about ASP.NET 5, kind of the next version that's coming, really is tied to Visual Studio. But in reality, if you kind of look at how things are packaged up and delivered, we're building ASP.NET 5 as open source. It's being built in open on GitHub. It's all about NuGet packages and a bunch of tooling experiences in VS. We are shipping Beta 5 as part of Visual Studio 2015, so it's not production ready. Right. We have published a roadmap, so the roadmap shows that in November we hope to hit RC1, which will be kind of a production-ready first release candidate release sometime in November. As folks can probably attest to this idea of roadmap, it's our best guess, so please don't kill us if things slip a little bit.
So RC1 kind of implies that there'll be multiple RCs. Can we expect that, or is that reading too much into that?
It's not unusual to have multiple RCs nowadays. Okay. Now, if they can avoid it, they will. They would love to get to RTM. I know that this November date is the hardest to predict because it's kind of far out enough. They're going to have a bunch of beta releases in between. So ASP.NET 5 certainly is ready to have you learn how to build websites with it, but it's really not something we'll support if you take it to production. So just wanted to make sure folks out there knew that distinction. Everything else, though, that we've talked about is either RTM, with the exception of Node tooling, which is RC. Everything else has finally hit the RTM quality.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool.
So not too bad, just a couple of slides. And I think you want to get to the demos. So
I do.
You're up, sir.
All righty. So we each picked 5 features that we wanted to highlight. These are 5 of our favorite features. So I'm going to go first. And the first thing I want to show is window layouts.
This is a cool one, yeah.
They are all cool. And these are in no particular order. I'm not going from my 5th favorite to my 4th and ending on my 1st. These are just...
Windows layout is not your favorite feature, by far, compared to any other feature. I'm a little disappointed.
You want to know what my favorite feature is? This one. The one where I can scroll up and down. Zoom.
You mean touch support in the code editor?
Touch support in the code editor, particularly the scrolling up and down. Because
yes,
in 2013 I would do that, and you wind up highlighting text and then accidentally deleting it. Yeah. That is actually my biggest
so this is your bonus
feature.
favorite
this is
feature
my bonus
of the day.
favorite feature, and I just now moved it so I don't know where I was before. Ah, here I was. Okay. So I started with my bonus favorite feature. Tied for my next favorite features, I guess. First one is window layout. So I've got my lovely Surface Pro 3 here, and this is kind of the default layout with the Solution Explorer. I've got code here, and then I've got these windows collapsed here. But if I go to my desk, where I have a larger monitor, I want to be able to see more things. I've got more screen real estate, so maybe what I want is the Server Explorer to be pinned, and maybe, the error list to be pinned. Sort of like that, we'll say. And I want to be able to save this layout. So what I can do is go to Window and Save Window Layout. And I'll give it a name. Let's call it Work. Okay. Now when I'm at home, I have a smaller monitor, so I don't want this up necessarily, and I want this really small. So I'm going to save this window layout as Home. And then there are times when I just want all code. Yes, I can Shift, Control, Alt, or whatever the keyboard combination is. But I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to call this Code. So now what I have, if we go to Apply Windows Layouts, is the ability to select these with the mouse or the keyboard shortcut. So Control, Alt, 1 brings me to my default layout. Ooh, that pops up right in the middle. Cool. And Control-Alt-2 takes me to, I believe this is Work. Control-Alt-3, which is Home. Control-Alt-4, which is all
It actually
code.
tells you in the bottom left which
Oh, it
one it
does.
loaded. Yeah,
Oh,
so you
nice.
guys can see. One of the real scenarios that I really like with this, that I've already used a couple of times, is the notion of the type of app more than the type of resolution. Where
Sure.
you know, certain things I definitely care more about if I'm building a Windows Store or WPF app than if I'm doing web or Apache
Absolutely.
Cordova.
Yep.
Especially, you know, for us people that do a lot of demos, that's a lifesaver.
Yep.
And
It can be windows that appear. It can be size of windows. You can do it based on how many monitors you have, the type of monitor you have, what machine you're on, anything you want. So it's the window layouts. You can apply them. You can manage them. So you can delete, rename, and when you're done, you can reset the window layout and go back to the default if you change the default.
Yeah, and the fact that if you log them in your profile, it syncs across your machines means
Yes.
this stuff travels with you. So it's
Yes.
very cool.
Okay, so that's the first. The second is a debugging feature. So this application here is a WPF app.